Okay, chapter 3, we're on page 49. Don't be an extra in your own movie. I've always been fascinated with the study of human potential. You simply cannot tell what someone might be able to achieve simply by looking at them. Some achieve extraordinary feats through almost unimaginable adversity. Some suffer terrible tragedies but emerge as competent, confident human beings. And some seem to be denied any possible advantage in life and yet emerge as significant symbols of triumph. Think of Helen Keller. Blind and deaf before she was 2 years old, she went on to become an articulate champion of disabled people's rights. Joan of Arc became a leader of men in an era when women who challenged authority were burned at the stake. Bill Gates was a college dropout, but he changed the world and helped usher in the computer era. John F. Kennedy galvanized a nation and thrust them into the space age with nothing but a vision of landing a man on the moon. Martin Luther King inspired a social revolution of nonviolent change in a segment of the population that had been oppressed for generations. What would you say if I told you that you have exactly the same potential to change your world as any of these great people? You'll find that hard to believe, I'm sure. But if I was to take you through the steps, through the streets of almost any city in the world and point out a homeless person, would you think you had more potential to achieve than they do? You probably would. If I pointed out that one of your coworkers, would you consider your potential at least equal, if not better than theirs? What if we were in New York and saw Donald Trump speed past in his limo? Would you think that you had the same potential as him? Probably not. Why? It's simple conditioning. I know the timing on this, but let's just stick with the idea and not the particular people. Whatever your beliefs are. Okay, why? It's simple conditioning. We tend to judge what a person can or cannot accomplish by their current results. If their current results are poor, then we assume that they will always be poor. If your current results are what you consider average, then it's easy to project that you'll always be average. If you see someone incredibly wealthy, then of course we'll expect that they have the most potential of all because their results are so great. We play this comparison game in our heads and decide where we fit. But as I've already discussed, your present results have absolutely nothing to do with your future. They are completely irrelevant. The perception that you are less than anyone else who walks this planet is ridiculous. You are equal to any other person on this earth, and they are equal to you. There is no shortage of success or wealth. There is an abundant supply to go around. This means that every single person has the same potential. The only differences are the ones we perceive in our mind. This is especially noticeable in children. When young children start school, they believe what they are told. If they are told they are slow or stupid, they believe it, even though it's completely untrue. If they're told they're brilliant and gifted, then they believe that, and their performance rises to meet their expectation. What you believe about yourself and your potential stems from a hodgepodge of experiences and statements that you took in as a child. You had no choice but to believe them. Your conscious mind was untrained and unable to filter them. and your subconscious mind accepted them as fact. Unless you specifically try to change those beliefs, you will continue believing them no matter what. In order to achieve great things, you have to believe you have the same potential that everyone else has, and you must commit to developing that potential. I'm going to say that again. In order to achieve great things, you have to believe you have the same potential that everyone else has, and you must commit to developing that potential. Be an original. We're on page 51. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, there will come a time in every person's education when they'll realize that envy is ignorance and imitation is suicide. I really think of this directly in terms of anyone who wants to live a wealthy life. Why? Well, one of the biggest things you have to accept is that you have the same potential as anyone else. That's big. Again, he says, one of the biggest things you have to accept is that you do have the same potential as anyone else. It doesn't matter. The king or queen of England, the president, any wealthy person, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. We tend to put those people on pedestals and think they're different than us. They're not in potential. That's it. They use or used their potential. You can too. Okay. So we're going to say again, well, one of the biggest things you have to accept is that you have the same potential as anyone else. And if that's the case, what reason could you have to envy anyone else? If your potential is the same, then your results could also be the same. And why waste time envying when you could use that time to develop your potential? These are the kinds of things you really want to think about. Why waste time thinking anything contrary to the truth? Why not use that time to build new beliefs about yourselves, new conviction? Take a drink of water. Okay. When I started studying how wealth was achieved, this is one of the first lessons I learned. If you want the same results as wealthy people, then you must take action to create those results in yourself. And it starts here. It's not the only action, but it starts here. Emerson also says that imitation is suicide. And it's true. Every single person who achieves great wealth does so in a slightly different manner. They are their own person with their own passions, just like you are. You can't just duplicate someone else's actions and expect to achieve their success, because the path to wealth is passion. And passion, as we know, is as unique and individual as each person on this planet. This is why you need to find your own personal passion to create wealth. I hope this comes as something of a relief. Just think, you don't have to be a real estate magnate like Donald Trump to achieve wealth, or an international public speaker like me. I know this firsthand. I know of many people who tried to do exactly what I'm doing. And you know what? I'm never threatened by it. In fact, I'm happy to give them every little detail of how I do what I do. All right, I'm going to stop there.